But I still don't know why I, as a conservative, would want to vote for you.
I knew you had a question there, and I
get no compliments. I'm going to be rough.
I lost it.
Remember, we're live 422-8708. Okay.
The one thing is that in the 7 years, and Larry has, since he came on council, has fit right in on this. We have been able to cut the budget and pay off debts that we actually incurred. If you recall, when I came on the council, at the same time that Paul Moss, Paula Hughes, Darren Votes, and Kyle Miller come on, because I came through the caucus.
Same way that
Larry did. And
Committeeman
Sandra Houlihan moved out of the county, so her seat became available, and I was elected through the caucus. But since that time, we inherited over $8 million debt to the state for the housing of juvenile delinquents, which we've paid off. We've also accumulated a rainy day fund, which is in the range of $14 to $15 million now, and that is important in many different issues. Number one is it helps our bond rating tremendously. It also, because now we have more of our revenue coming from sources that are subject to economic downturn, and one of them is through the sales tax or the local option income tax. And with unemployment as high as it is, the revenue from the local option income tax will be decreasing, and that is almost a 2-year delay before it actually, the impact reduces the revenue that we receive on that. So it's some of the things in which the state is currently going through, in which their estimated revenues are not generating as much as they had anticipated, and they have like $1.3 billion rainy day fund in the state that they are trying to keep from touching this year. But that is some of the things that with conservative ideas, conservative spending, we've been able to obtain while I've served on the county council.
So are my county taxes going up?
The county taxes, because of the circuit breaker, which is a very unusual, and actually I've mentioned the fact that I do not support the circuit breaker because it's not fair how the distribution of that will be made, because you have people that live in cities or towns who will benefit from the circuit breaker, and people in unincorporated areas that do not benefit from the circuit breaker. And then it becomes an inequity in the fact that people living in the unincorporated area will be paying more percentage-wise towards the county budget, the airport budget, the library budget, because they are tax rates that are countywide and the same. So there's some inequities in there, and I've been talking to state legislatures concerning that. It actually, on a $200,000 home, it would end up between, like, for instance, Jackson Township here in the county compared to a Fort Wayne tax rate. The people in Fort Wayne would be paying about 31% less on the county, or on them 3 levies that I just mentioned, than when somebody in the unincorporated area.
So it's a very unfair.
It is, and it's hard to explain and hard for people to accept. But I mean, I believe in fairness. I wouldn't want to pay less than what my neighbor is paying for the same services. And
absolutely, whether I live in the city or because I do live outside of the city, so correct. That's very sad here. I'm going to be paying a lot more money.
Right. But actually, on the property taxes, in which you need more than an hour to explain it, in the fact that the amount of money that we receive from property taxes in this county is like $51 million, roughly. And the state actually sets how much that can increase based upon the average income for the last 6 years. And since I've been on the council, it's usually 3.5% to 4%. I think it was 3.2 one year. But that's how much the 51 million can increase. And then that is divided by the net assessed value for the whole county, and that's how the property tax rate is determined.
They're also talking about doing that casting. I just became a homeowner, so I'm trying to learn all that stuff, but you're right, that's whole other stuff. And now I'm going to ask you, Mr. Brown, what makes you, as a conservative, or just as an independent, or anyone that's concerned with today's climate and everybody seems to be wanting in our pockets, what do you bring to the table that I would like, or?
Well, I feel that I bring, number one, experience. Having served on council previously, I think I bring that experience. Also, my construction experience. I'm self-employed, own my own business, so. You're
familiar with small business owners.
Exactly.
We need people experienced with that right now.
Right. And as it relates to today's economy, it's extremely tough out there. That may be an understatement, but county government needs to keep in mind that the taxpayers are having a tough time. They need to keep in mind on a day-to-day basis, try to find new ways to do what they need to do at a cheaper rate, or do more for less, in other words. So I like to say, I hope that my goal is to make sure the taxpayers get the biggest bang for their buck. We're all going to have to pay taxes. Taxes are a fact of life. We might as well accept that. But to make sure that the dollars are spent wisely, that's my goal.
Yeah, and in today's climate, it is so important because everybody seems to be wanting in the taxpayers' pocket, and with the climate now, I've seen so many groups that say throw everyone out, but I do agree that we can't, we got to be careful on that score too, because we lose a lot of good experience.
Right.
And we can't just have, people come in that don't even know what they're doing. That could be messy. But we also want to make sure that, from my point of view, that they're not taking more out of my pocket than needs to be taken.
Right.
And